And next, an experienced film journalist with a rich career across major platforms like Pink Villa and Bollywood Hungama, please welcome Mr. Himesh Mankar. Finally, we have the President of Film Federation of India and South Indian Film Chamber of Commerce. Give a warm round of applause for Mr. Ravi Kottarakara. May I now request Shri Gautam Bhanot, General Manager, International Promotions, National Film Development Corporation, to please join us on stage to felicitate our guests. Thank you, sir, for joining us with the felicitation. And now over to our moderator, Mr. Jayaprat Desai, with a gracious request to commence the discussion.
Thank you so much. The topic kind of puts a question in your mind itself, blurring the lines between truth and perception. PR is a concept which has been accentuated in the last few years in the industry. To start with, let's first understand what PR means. Public relations, as we call it, and Himesh, you can correct me here if I'm wrong, because you are an authority on this. But PR is the process of managing information about an organization or a product, in our context, a film, or an individual, maybe an actor or a star, a celebrity, for the people to create a perception in their minds about it. Now, this is a very clinical definition, but what it essentially means that PR is not advertising. While both of it comes under the bigger umbrella of marketing communication, because finally you're marketing the product that you want to sell. But advertising is something that you pay for. A PR, ideally, is something that should be earned. For example, if you imagine a newspaper that you read in the morning and you see an advertisement about a film, that is paid. But next to the advertisement, there is an interview with the lead actor of the film, which generates curiosity, which generates interest in your minds about the film. That is PR, public relations for you. It creates anticipation about the product before the buyer goes to buy it. So to understand, Himesh, let's start with you over here. What or how would you define a PR machinery operates? What are the basic functions that a PR specialist should do?
So there are two ways to look at it. Number one, what is it that PR person should do and what is it that they are doing? There's a vast difference in that. So I think generally what you explained it perfectly. The work is to create awareness and conversation around a feature film using innovative mediums of media to communicate with the audience. That's the basic function. But in today's time, as the topic is the blurring line between truth and perception, the PR machineries are used to manipulate the truth, which is what is happening in today's time. So, I mean, say 6 years back, if a film was 7 on 10, efforts were made to project it that it's 9 on 10. I'm just giving an example. In today's time, even a 2 on 10 is being projected as 7 on 10 on or 8 on 10 using the PR machineries. So the idea of PR in today's time is to create a false narrative, irrespective of what the truth is. Are they succeeding or not is something which the audience will say. But the entire definition of PR has changed in the modern times. It was initially to maintain relationships with the media and to use media to convey what the stars cannot communicate directly with the audience. In today's time, it has become more of a paid medium where media is being paid to put out a narrative which an actor or a producer wants to put about the film. PR has become about putting those narratives, PR has become about the paid reviews and everything and anything. So I think that has led to an, for a lack of better word, that has led to a credibility crisis also. The audience also don't know what to trust and what not to trust. So yeah, all of this has happened in the pandemic where insecurities led to creating false narratives and eventually the efforts to make or turn those false narratives into a reality.
You have brought a few things over here, credibility crisis, for example, or the change of perception post-pandemic, and we'll come to all that later in detail. But in the meanwhile, let me open it up. Ravi sir, now a lot of us think that PR is a recent phenomena. This has not been something which has been done traditionally. You being a senior film producer and who has seen this for probably the past 40-45 years, do you think there was an existent PR machinery then? Was something done to cultivate the kind of influence that you want amongst the public about your film?
Good afternoon, my dear friends. PR, as said, public relations, is making the audience expect something out of you. One. Olden days, we had brands. Simply, I'll just tell you. Brands mean different type of brands. One is the producer was a brand, the director was a brand, the actor was a brand. So what happens is, when XY, if an Amitabh Bachchan film releases, he's a brand for himself, he has got a PR for himself. So people come with expectations. This is to create expectations for a person. So if you have an Amitabh Bachchan, Parveen Babi or Zeenat Amin film means, you'll know it's a paka mass film. Okay. You have Amitabh Bachchan, and by mistake we cast Shabna as me or somebody, and with a director of some class repute or something, we know it's going to be a class film or parallel cinema. So I'm just telling you. Right. So these PRs are created when you make your film itself. And people, that is, PR is nothing but expectations of the audience. But today, I would like to tell you, we are not at crossroads. We are in a place where I have to discuss with my entire team when we start a film what not to say, but what to say. We are sitting, when I start a film itself, we sit and say, don't say this, don't say that, don't say this, don't say that. Because every person is today out of, in case we are around 50 people here or 100 audience here, they basically, only due to you, the audience and due to all people like you, the industry survives. They decide the fate of the film. I have to just say, today, recently we had a film released. It was released in around 800 theatres. As soon as the first reel is over, the audience decide the fate of the film. They say, fantastic, but not worth watching. First word is fantastic, very positive, okay, but not worth watching. So what happens is the whole system of PR is changed. There's no public relations. Today, the audience are, rather I don't call them influencers or anything. The audience have got an unfettered right to write anything. But what happens is there is negative and positive type of, posting messages today. So the whole concept of PR, the truth, the thoughts of, advertising has changed. You put any paper, I hope most of you would have seen all magazines. At one time, we had a lot of screen, Hindu, paper magazines. We had radio advertisements. We had TV advertisements. Nothing of them worked here. It is just the audience. The first show, within 15 minutes of the film, the entire film is written. The fate of the film is decided by the audience. So now we are in a stage, what to do, how to make a film is not the problem. How to present the film is not the problem. How do the audience accept the film is the problem, and what they write. Even a good film can be written off like this within a second, because they have not seen the film, full film. Because they are in a race to say that I am first, I have decided the fate of the film. So it is now for the audience. So the concept of the blurring lines between the truth and perception lies with the audience and not with us. Sorry, I have to say that.
But there's a very interesting point that Sir brought up, Himesh. I see a trailer and I decide not to watch the film. Now, how does PR help to change this perception? For example, I have seen a barrage of news medias and content online about how successful a trailer is and how hard-hitting he is and how it has influenced people in a way. It might not have, actually. But you are deploying a PR machinery to very systematically create an impression amongst the audience that the trailer is already successful.
No, so like Sir said, how much ever a PR tries to create a bubble that your trailer is successful, your film is good, or your film is successful, it is the audience who will say and decide. If today I don't like a trailer, even if the actor comes and says that I'll feed you popcorn in the hall, the audience won't go. Why? Because today cinema watching has become a very expensive medium. Number two, it's a time-consuming medium, because when you go to a cinema hall, a 2.5-hour film will, you will have to devote at least 4 hours to watch it. 30 minutes of travel time, 20 minutes of interval, 10 minutes delay in the screening, there's parking, popcorn expense, which are more expensive than the tickets in today's time. So if a trailer is not exciting for me, I won't go and buy the tickets. There will be 100 people saying the trailer is good. But a question which those 100 people should ask, will they go and buy the tickets? That's the question which we need to ask. And I think it's the trailer. And if we have to give an example of an attempt made to change the fate of the film after the trailer or teaser has been written off, I think there was Adipurush which came, and the first teaser met with a very negative response. The makers made an attempt to change the entire perception around the film. They came out and said, okay, we have made a mistake. There are issues with the visual effects. We hear you. We are going to delay the film by 6 to 8 months and bring it with better visuals. When they delayed the film, then they came out with 2 songs which worked very well for the audience. So what was termed a disaster after the teaser came out? The first and second song gave a ray of hope. Why? Because the audience said, okay, the makers have accepted their mistake, they heard our feedback, and they are now reworking on things. Because of that, the 8-month delay and the first and second song working, the film opened. Of course, then the fate of the film was the audience. Like Sir said, the first show, the first screening happened and people didn't like the film. But at least that delay in the film and the fact that the makers were honest enough to accept their mistake, that made the audience give the film a chance. So that, in my opinion, is one of the best campaigns where something from a disaster, where people were predicting it would open at some shocking numbers despite the budget, took a start. So that's the only film which comes to my mind in recent memory where a PR changed the fate for the first time.
You know, it's a very interesting topic that you opened up, and I'll come to Shankar in a bit. But creating this perception of success, no, has now got more complicated for OTT content.
Yeah.
Because theatrical films, you still have a yardstick, which is the trade figures. You know, what kind of box office collections happened on the very first day or second day. But for OTT, these are numbers which are essentially a number which only the OTT has.
Yeah.
And only they have access to it. You know, as a common audience, I would not know how many people have watched it. Now, they can be manipulated very easily to create that perception using PR.
See, firstly on OTT, everything is a success. That's what they project it to be, because there is no way to see if a film is successful or not. But I'll give you an example about your own film, Kaun Praveen Tambe. The data, the inside data which I have got, it is one of the most viewed film on Hotstar. How do you make it? Because Hotstar promoted the film, spent money to market the film after the release, be it on IPL, be it every other platform. And even when, like, there are multiple ways, even on multiple reports, it was there. But perception-wise, did it made a noise that, oh, we are a big success. For some reason, the fact was that it's a big success. But perception-wise, there was another cricket-based film, 83. It's a bigger success in terms of perception, whereas in reality, it's one of the biggest loss makers of cinema.
Right.
So that's what is PR all about, creating a perception for something that is not so successful. Where in reality, successful film is something else and something which is not successful is something else. And people, I don't think even people buy into it. So that's how it is. And OTT success, you know, there are conversations about the content and on social media which is organic. So yeah, there is no metric, but in reality, everyone in the industry knows, and the platform in reality knows what has worked and what has not worked.
Right, right. So we'll come to the matrix later. Shankar, the scene has accentuated considerably in the post-pandemic era. You know, there has been a heavy reliance on digital content because people were restricted to their houses now. Has the use of PR, for good or bad, been increased in the post-COVID era?
Thank you, Jaypreet, for this insightful question, and I would also like to thank Ravi sir and also Himesh for setting up the ball for this particular discussion. Because I come from a situation, I come from a state which Ravi sir is quite familiar about, but I'm not really sure how much Himesh would have actually seen how a normal film-going person in Kerala or South kind of works in first person. See, I represent a state which makes around 175 films a year. 175 films. Out of which 100 films are by newcomers, new filmmakers, first-time filmmakers, first-time producers. Most of the filmmakers who know the reality are very, very close with the stars. They are very well close with the technicians. They know the reality. The moment a PR machinery starts working on a film, people are cynical about it. Why are they spending so much building up this? First, are you lying? Are you lying to us? So slowly, we are building it up only because we are trying to set up. We are not working with an Amitabh Bachchan, Zeenat Aman or Parveen Babi, but we are working with a newcomer. I know that basically at least 3 films which grossed around 70 to 100 CR this year. They stopped promotion 1 week back. 2018, Manjumal Boys, Romancham. Yeah. These 3 films stopped promotions because there was no takers from the OTT, there was no distributors going for the film, and the latest hit, Kishkinda Gandam, was lying down in the box for almost 1 year waiting for a release period. All these films garnered more than 50 CR. Whereas those films which really spent more than 2 CR for PR alone, a total budget of around 60 to 100 CR is spent on an average Malayalam film industry per year. You should think that 175 films with an average budget of, average budget of 10 to 15 lakhs to 50 lakhs for a film. It amounts to a market of around 100 CR. And that 100 CR, these 3 films which didn't spend anything for that, garnered more money than that. Now, why is this happening in a state like Kerala? It's also resonating with other states because I was talking to Jayaprat last night when we were waiting for Himesh to fly down to Goa. And what I was telling is that in a state like Kerala, we are very socially sensitive, politically sensitive, social media beings. I'm not talking in reality, you might close your eyes and walk, but in social media, you're very active. So the social media, we have this film appreciation crowds, which are actually fictitious. They don't exist. It might have 300 members. They might be writing reviews, but these are reviews written by 10 people, sitting in different states, like different districts. We have 14 districts, and 14 districts are, we'll have one member from each district with 10 or 20 fake IDs. These 20 people, 25 people will be criticizing. It is like Fernando Pessoa writing poetry from Portugal in 3 different names. So primarily, you're talking about one person split into 10 people and writing. I'm not talking about a particular PR for a film. This is to kill a film. This is not to promote a film. If he is making a film and I don't like him, I will use my PR machinery to kill him. So it is not a promotion that we are talking about. We are talking about a war. We are talking about a chaos. So primarily the PR machinery is used to survive this killing. Like this is predatorship happening over something, and this PR is just to float, like to bring the 25 people who will come to the theatre and say that when it comes in OTT, this film did well. Iretta, a cinema which got a national award done by Joju George, it didn't do well in theatres. But when it came in OTT, it garnered a lot of great reviews. And people said that we didn't know about this. It had that kind of content. So, sir, post-pandemic, basically, we have become, there is an underground movement between people that they have their alter IDs in their social media, who become the Roger Eberts and who become the Bhavana Somaya, or who become the unnamed, cruel, parasitic people who live under the earth and try to derive that sadistic pleasure of killing him.
That happens a lot. I think